Man, we can put this to rest right now. Who is called a nigga? Who's referred to as a nigga? What image come to mind with the term nigga? Huh? I mean, let's go. Everybody know what that term nigga, who is attributed to. Yeah, we ain't the people of the book. We ain't the one that all nations point fingers and say, look at that nigga. All the stigmas that were placed upon us as a people. Baby mama drama. Black on black crime. All of this. I didn't even mean to pick up my phone today. I didn't plan on it. But for some reason, I got something to say. For some reason, I got something to say. That came to mind. Like, who is a nigga? Because people want to play semantics, man. And I'm tired of the games. I'm really tired of the games. I'm tired of the deception. I'm tired of the freaking lies. I'm tired of it all, bro. I'm tired of it all. People want to play freaking semantics, like, oh well, no, they were dark skinned people, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they were you guys. I'm tired of it, man. I'm freaking tired of it. All these historical books, all these historical records point to a certain particular group of people, and it lines up with the Bible that talks about the particular curses that this people would go through. There's other books that talk about prophecy that happens to a particular group of people that connects and lines right up with the scripture. You're telling me that's a coincidence? Man, I just can't. I can't with this world. I cannot. I just can't. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. Everybody but us. You know, I look around even on the internet, on Google. When you Google someplace nice, you ain't never gonna see a black person there. You ain't never gonna see no Negro. You'll see every other nation but a Negro. Depending on where you look up, you'll see everybody but a Negro. You will not see no Negro when you look up Hawaii or any freaking vacation spot. When you look up anything positive. I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of it. All the freaking movies that were made about the Bible, all the freaking Bible characters, all the freaking images they have posted and plastered for years and years and centuries, forcing it, ramming it down our throats, beating our people with lashes, whips, beating them, forcing. We all seen it in Roots. They put it in our face. They put it in our face, bragging about it. Look what we did to you niggas. Look what we did to you. Now humble yourself and worship white Jesus. This is your God. They took our power. Our power gave us into their hands. Do you want to know why? He did warn us. I'm flowing by the Spirit, baby. I'm flowing by the Spirit. Because I didn't mean to switch up my mindset right there. I didn't mean to go a different direction. But apparently, he wants me to go this direction. Because people do want to focus on what they did to us. But they don't never want to look at ourselves. We don't never want to look inside. We don't never want to look and come back to the reality that the Most High was good with us. He was good to us. He gave us a promise. He promised us and he came through. Even though he knew in his foreknowledge that our people wouldn't keep it. He knew in his foreknowledge we wouldn't keep his statutes. We wouldn't keep his covenant. We wouldn't keep his commandment of love. We wouldn't have empathy. We wouldn't have compassion. No, we want to shed blood. We want to shed innocent blood and pretend like that covers our trivial sins. I mean, our people were in perpetual blindness. But yet the Most High loved us. He loved us. He picked us up. He got us out of Egypt. We were learning things in Egypt. We grew up. I was born and raised in this world, programmed just like everybody else has been programmed. Indoctrinated just like everybody else has been indoctrinated. You have to look inside. We have to look inside. We got to go in. What happened to us? What did we go through? What are our experiences? We go back and we read. And not only do we read, but we have the Spirit that's been imparted to us. As he just put it right there. He's like, I can feel the Spirit. And I can hear the Spirit is inside of me. It's like a quickening in the Spirit. These people could not have done what they did to our people if it had not been for the transgression of our sins, forefather sins. The Most High is merciful. He's merciful and he's long-suffering. I mean, think of how long it's been since he created, he formed the world and he brung it all together. He had in his mind how beautiful it would be and how he would commune with his creation and we would just be here on the earth and glorify him. You know, man, it was supposed to be so great, so awesome, you know, and now it's just straight destruction. But prophecy is unfolding, people, and I'm sorry, but if you don't have the eyes to see, it's like you're part of that 2/3, and I hate to say it like that because I'm not trying to damn nobody. I'm really not trying to damn nobody. But I mean, if you have the ears to hear and the heart to receive and you have the eyes to see, where we look around and we see the state of the world in which it is in today, how everybody is fearful and on edge, don't know what's to come, don't know what's happening. Man, prophecy is happening. See, the Gentiles are about to go through their tribulation because the Gentiles' time is about to be fulfilled. And they ain't going to tell you that. See, they're not going to tell you that. It's time up. You know, they put subliminal messages. They put subliminal messages in our faces while we think we're being entertained. How they came out with time's up. They kept coming out with that statement, time's up. They know that their time is up. But see, Satan has to proclaim, he has to state what he's going to do before he does it. And this is what they have been doing this. They have been doing this. It's called sorcery. casting spells on our people. We have been in a perpetual sleep, in a zombie state. I grew up in this system, being programmed that it was okay to eat animals. I didn't view it even like I'm eating animals. I viewed it like this is food. You know, my whole mindset was formed to view these things as food. When I ate a chicken leg, we even called it a chicken leg. Give me one of them chicken legs. Give me one of them breasts. We're calling it these body parts. But yet it doesn't click in our mind that, look, we're literally eating a mutilated body part of an innocent animal that died so that we can feast upon this flesh and blood. It's evidently crystal freaking clear. Why can't people see these things? Why didn't I see these things when I was blinded? Because the Father had to remove the scales from my eyes. And the Father had to melt my heart. I had a stony heart because I did not ever come to that realization that, hey, I'm eating on a mutilated body part. I would have asked questions. I would have wondered why I'm eating on a dead, mutilated body part if I didn't have a stony heart. It's the Father that comes in and does the changing. You want to know how that is? Why did Yahusha have to come to the earth? See, before Yahusha came to the earth, the so-called proverbial Old Testament, the Father had to speak to the people through a chosen one, someone that he chosen to speak his word to them, and then they will convey it to the people. You know, a holy one, a set apart one for himself to counsel and then to teach the people. He had prophets. He had priests, and he had his mores and all of that. He had his preachers. Like he raised up who he wanted to speak his word. That was in the Old Testament. That was in the prophets. That was in the Torah, Moses, and Joshua. I mean, bruh. The New Testament is when Yahusha came and then was murdered. Before he was murdered, he said, "It's expedient that I go away. For if I go not away, then I cannot send the Spirit." Why did he have to send us the Spirit? Why did he have to come to the earth? We have to answer these questions in order to understand the purpose and the reasoning behind these things. Men had corrupted the things that the Father communed to men and gave them the responsibility of revealing those things to the people, to have the people follow after the Most High's word. The Most High's word began to be corrupted when it was in the hands of men. So Yahusha had to come to the earth to put a stop to men having the responsibility of carrying the word of the Most High to the people. Yahusha came to break the Levitical priesthood, destroy the temple. Why did he destroy the temple? because they were committing great wickedness in the temple. They were killing all of the Most High's innocent creation in which he created to have joy from. He wanted to watch his creation, his beautiful creation, live the life that he gave to them. He gave to them his breath of life. He blessed them. He created food for them, gave them a habitat, and commanded them to be fruitful and multiply. He gave them a consciousness. They have a nervous system. They have flesh and blood. Every single thing that we have. And they were given every single thing that we were. But yet all of a sudden, it's okay to kill them and eat their flesh and blood? That sounds like Satan when he said he would set himself up like the Most High. There was a specific prophet that was used. A so-called prophet who was with Moses. See, they took these things out of the Bible because they didn't want you to know these things. Our oppressors gave us the so-called proverbial Holy Bible. You really believe and think that they would give it to us uncorrupted? That's mighty trusting. We're mighty trusting in these freaking Gentiles. See, I'm trying to keep civil. We're mighty trusting in these heathens, these Gentiles that gave us the Holy Bible. And then put stigmas on it saying it's the infallible word of God. And then they've canonized it. It said anything outside of this, and that's not credible. We didn't agree to that. It's a council of freaking Gentiles. It's them. A council of them. The Council of Nicaea. Who told them? Who told them that stole our freaking Hebrew Israelite scrolls? They stole our documents. And then they decided amongst themselves what they were going to deem credible. And man, get out of it. Are you like seriously? And we're believing that. We're believing these people. And some of my people would just want to hardcore hold on to it like with a death grip. No, everything in the Bible is the word of God. Everything in the Bible is God said, God said. God said we can eat the clean animals. Really? So he changed? He created food just for the hell of it? He created food to grow from the earth just for what benefit? What benefit would that be? If he was just going to change it? Is he corruptible? Did he make a mistake? Did he change his mind when he said, "This shall be your meat"? When did the truth of the Most High become a lie? Because he never called his flesh and blood animals in which he created and blessed and told to be fruitful and multiply. Nah. He ain't never gave them as a food source. He ain't never called them meat. Not ever. So tell me why every day when I'm looking around in my world that I'm living in, whether I'm home or whether I'm out and about, there's ads every freaking where. Ads everywhere. Come eat the flesh and the blood of the Father's creation. Dress it up so delicately. Make it look scrumptious and delicious. A seduction. Seducing the whole world to come feast on flesh and blood. Come feast on death. But they don't sell it to you like that. They don't advertise it to you that it's death. They ain't advertising it to you that it's parasites and maggots and all kinds of abominable worms all throughout that flesh. They ain't gonna tell you that there's all kinds of trauma and freaking negative energy all throughout that flesh. They ain't gonna tell you that what you eat becomes who you are. It's very evidently crystal clear, but people can't see. That's blindness. That's a spiritual deception. People have been seduced by the greatest sorcerer that ever lived. And I'm sick of it. I am sick of the deception. I am sick of the lies. I'm sick of them trying to freaking proclaim that all these other nations are Israelites, but not us. But yet, everybody know who the nigga is. Don't nobody wanna claim none of the bad negative things. Oh, they're all down for let's go watch some Roots. They're all down for that. Oh yeah, we know your struggle with Roots and all of these slave movies. Why is it never us when it comes to anything good? Why can't we ever have something good? And then when they're like, oh well, okay, you guys can have a small portion, they want to give us 3 tribes. Really, bro? Every single tribe is a Negro. Every single one. Black people. Yes, black people. Various shades of the color of the freaking earth. The original indigenous freaking people. I'm coming into some information that America is not what they told us that it is. And I'm just following the spirit of truth. Wherever the spirit of truth leads and guides me, because I prayed about it already. I prayed about it. I gave it to him because at first I was blowing it off just like I did Flat Earth. I did the same thing with this, just like I did Flat Earth. Anytime I heard about the promised land being over in the Americas, I blew it off with a quickness, just like I did Flat Earth. And the Father brought it back to my remembrance. That's cognitive dissonance. You're doing the same thing with this that you did with Flat Earth. And so I'm like, dang, I guess I am. You know, I guess I did kind of do that. Yeah, because, you know, in my mindset it's ridiculous. How can it be over here? My whole mindset, this is the same way that I went through with Flat Earth. I'm like, what? You know, it's what I knew all my life. It's what I've been taught. It's what we all been taught. Geography and all these things. What if it's not what they told us, man? Everything we know, everything we were taught, and everything that we think we know is a freaking lie. This is confirmed by not just the scripture. It says it in the scripture. For one, your enemies shall be known as liars unto you. But it also, there's a quote by someone, and I can't remember his name. I cannot remember this dude's name. But he said something like, we'll know our disinformation project is complete when everything people know is false. Everything that we have taught people to know is false. Something like that. Something along those lines. I'm not a genius. I can't remember. I can't memorize and repeat. But, man, that was a bomb. Because it's like, dang, man. Wow, he just pulled the wool. He just pulled the cover right off of it, didn't he? When knowing this information is complete. Let me freaking get that freaking quote. Because it's important. It's important that people know this. Hold up. Alright, I'm pulling it up right now. I'm so glad that is not scrubbed from the internet yet. Because these things are going to be. So we may as well be getting it now, because it ain't gonna stay here forever. Alright, William Casey. That's the dude's name. He's a CIA director. Alright, let me see if I can get it bigger. Dang it. It's small. We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. Imagine that. Yes, they admit. Yes, that's William Casey, CIA director. So yes, you need to question your beliefs. Not everything that you believe is the truth. We've been taught many lies, and you have to come to grips with that. I'm sorry. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be hard. I went through it. I'm there. I'm there for you. You need somebody to lean on? I'm going to provide my email address. I'll provide, whatever, you need. Hell, if you want to call me, I'll give my number to people. I don't have no qualms about it. I know it's going to be difficult. I didn't have nobody to lean on. I was by myself, man. Going down this freaking rabbit hole, tumbling. Boy, I was tumbling for years. I was tumbling. Oh, I jumped down it, man. I jumped into it. I jumped right on in. And I got to some deep, dark things, bro. And man, I had to stop for a little bit because it got to a point to where it almost started to depress me. And man, I'd be laying in the bed in a fetal position, just like like a baby, just like, oh my gosh, no, how can it be this bad? Like, for real, how can it, for real, I'm talking about SRA, satanic ritual abuse, and what they do to children, and man, heartbreaking things, bro. My heart broke over and over and over and over, and the more lies that was uncovered, and the more deception that was shown, that look at these cover-ups, look at what they're doing, like all these things, man. It would just blow my mind over and over and over and over and over. And I'm like, man, and even back then, I mean, shoot, bro, I'm talking about like 2001, 9/11, it's so weird because it's like, even back then I was questioning things. Even back then I was searching and hunting. Before then I was searching about so-called aliens and UFO. Man, I've always been a curious type of person. I've always been searching. I've always been creative. I've always been very right-brained and very freaking strong-willed. I don't know, man. But I do know that, shoot, it's not easy to break free of the matrix. But I've been unplugged. But it's elevation, bro. Because back then, I was a seer. I was able to see. I looked around in my day-to-day life, my surroundings, and just things we were taught. Things I learned in school and later found out to be lies. Like, I was able to see the deception. I was able to see that not to trust the government. I was able to know not to trust the school systems. Later, I came to know not to trust the medical industry so much. And just the knowledge and the wisdom kept building upon it. It was the Father. The Father has walked with me throughout my whole life, but I didn't know it. I've been surrounded by angelic hosts all my life, but I didn't know it. I never knew why, and I'll tell you this: I never knew why. I've always felt like I don't need a gun. I don't need no knife. I ain't never felt like I really needed to protect myself, and I never even thought about it. I never thought about it. I just was like, I never thought I needed a gun, I never thought I needed a freaking weapon. And it never came to mind. And it just never came to mind, like, that I don't need it because my weapons of war are not physical, but spiritual. Until the Father revealed that to me. Like, now I understand and I know, well, this is why I don't need a gun. This is why I don't need weapons, because, yeah. So, that's that. And the Father let me live my life. The way I lived it, I went through a lot of different things, but at the same time, he was there protecting me when I was in ignorance, mind you. I was in gross ignorance, doing many things, many things. But he brought me out of that, and I had the eyes to see. I've been had the eyes to see for a while, but I wasn't hearing. I wasn't hearing. I was drowning it out. I was drowning it out with noise from this world. So I know the stages. I know the process, because it's once that noise stops drowning out, you know. I was always surrounded by a lot of people, and playing games and partying and all these things, you know. So I wasn't hearing. I wasn't hearing from the Most High, because I wasn't alone. I wasn't to myself. I was never in communion with Him. But once I got alone, and even when I was alone for a long period of time, you know, I'm alone physically, you know, in my apartment. I live alone, but I had internet. And there was 3D virtual worlds. So I spent all my time in that, chasing out the women and having sexual relations and all of this. Like, I don't mean to be graphic about it, but I'm just saying, all this time I kept drowning him out, and I didn't know I was drowning him out. You know, I was just living my life. And I'm explaining how this works, this elevation process. See, I already had the eyes to see. And I've been seeing through my whole life. But I couldn't explain certain things. So, 2016, around in there, I started hearing some more truth about, I think it was maybe mid 2016, late 2016, somewhere around in there, I heard that we're the true Israelites. I seen a post or something, but everything happens for a reason. See, the Father, people have to understand the way the Spirit works. You know, there's something that you may see. There's something that may happen. Somebody may tell you something, and it doesn't necessarily mean this comes from the Most High, that the Most High is imparting to them. It just means that at that particular moment in time, what they said to you is something that you need for your life, or what you see is something that you need for your life. It's some information that you may need to look into for your life. It may be something that the Spirit of Truth is leading you and guiding you into, so that you will pay attention to that, and you'll allow the Spirit of Truth to lead and guide you. Well, that's kind of what happened to me when I seen that post at that moment in time. That is black people that are the true Hebrews, is black, or black people are the true Jews, is what the post said. And here's how it was the Spirit of Truth that led and guided me, because I didn't just go based upon what that post said. I seen it, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. And, you know, and then I was like, I'll look into it, you know. I didn't just brush it off, because I'm like, that's interesting. And I read what the post said. I don't exactly remember what all it said. But I went and did the research. Went back and read some historical books. Watched a lot of documentaries that opened up some historical books. Watched, listened, read along. And I did this for quite a while, along with reading the Bible and communing with the Father. Because in 2017, I mean, at the same time, yeah, and I heard this before. I stopped trying to do the gender transformation, the gender reassignment surgery, and the hormones. And then I was even I was even contemplating not doing the surgery, but just doing the hormones, you know, because I wasn't happy with my voice. I was like, well, if I'm gonna pass, online, because in my life, my whole life was online at this point. 2016, my whole life was online. Like everything was SL. Everything. My life revolved around SL. Which is Second Life. From there, 2017, I already told this testimony, so go back and listen to my first two videos that I uploaded, and you'll have more information about that. I don't really want to harp on that every single video. But the next level was 2017 when he intervened and told me that he created me in the body that he created me in, and that I don't have to be who this world tells me I have to be, to just follow him, follow the leading of the Spirit, and do what he tells me to do. And I've been obedient to that for the most part. I haven't really fasted the way I felt I should have, and I feel bad about that. I mean, I try to fast, a little bit, and I've been doing OMAD, so, which is 1 meal a day. And, I mean, it's not really because I'm still having my smoothie and stuff like that in the mornings, or fruit. But, I mean, elevation, seriously, from not hearing from the Most High to hearing him in 2017 tell me to stop doing something in which I hearken. Hearing in 2016 prior to that we are the true that we're the true Hebrews, we're the true Jews. And I was listening. See, like that piqued my interest, that like perked my ears up, my spiritual ears a little bit, because not only it was the Spirit of truth that Yahusha sent into the earth, but it's also that prophecy that was told in Baruch, that they shall remember themselves in a land of their captivity. It was a twofold there, because that right there was that they shall remember themselves. That was connected to the Spirit of truth that piqued my interest in that post of who the true Israel is. And so I was a little bit quieter. I had started coming up off of SL, I wasn't on there as much, I started studying a lot more. I started having a desire to read and dive into study and searching out things, and that set apart time while I was doing that, he would quicken in my spirit connections and how these things connected to different areas. And I'm like, man, wow, this is like a giant freaking spider web. This all freaking connects. Like, wow, it was amazing. And that's communion with the Father, and I was able to have the ears to hear when he told me in my spirit, all these things, and I obeyed. I listened. I still have my flaws. I'm smoking a cigarette right now, and I know they're bad for me. They're not good at all. I started wheezing, and I can't sing. how I used to be able to. Can't hold a tune for a long time because of it. And that's not good. These confessing my sins, because I don't want to hide anything. I don't want there to be anything that somebody can come back and use against me and say, that I'm being a hypocrite or that I'm whatever. I don't want anybody to be able to pull any kind of cover off of me. So I'm pulling the cover off my damn self. Like Dimitri said, man, dude, like woke me up big time to that. And like I think that's when that conviction like really started hitting me about how I really need to be open about who I am. But it was so hard. I'm like, but what if The Father was like, time is over for you hiding. You're gonna have to come out with who you are behind the avatar. I mean, I am who I am, man. I ain't changed. I am the same person. It's just, I don't have the body that I wanted to have. I don't have the body that I wanted to look like. Or everybody said I acted like. So it's all good, I'm happy that I did it. And I really don't care how many views it got or how much attention it got. That's not what's important. What's important is that I put these things out there so that I ain't hiding nothing. It's out there. It's going to be in the public. The Father knows me because I commune with Him. And He has commanded me to stop doing all things that are a transgression against Him. And engaging in any kind of fornication is spiritual wickedness. Even when you're doing it with yourself and somebody online, cyber sex and all of this is all wicked. It doesn't come from the Father. Porn industry and all of that, guess where it comes from? It comes from the pits of hell. So all sexual activity had to quit. And I ain't saying it's going to be easy. It's not, but what does the Messiah say? That you must kill the flesh and walk in the Spirit, right? Does it not say that? We must crucify our flesh. So all these things we were taught as normal. We grew up in this wicked beast system. Everything we were taught is a lie. I just read you the quote from the CIA director, William Casey. If everything we were taught is a lie, then just go through your mind and think about all the things that you've been taught. When you were a child and they gave you a globe and they told you you are here. Why is it so hard to question that? Why do you just outright want to reject it? That's called cognitive dissonance. I can tell you that because I've been through it. See, there's a lot of things that's been deeply ingrained into our psyche. And the globe earth is one of those things. Feasting on the Father's creation, His flesh and blood creatures that He blessed, is another one. Trusting the so-called quote-unquote authority is another one. We were taught that. We were taught to trust those in authority. Who made these people the authority over us? I didn't elect these people. And see, I've always wondered that. Like, why have I never really had a desire to get to register to vote and go vote. I ain't never went to go vote in no poll. Like, I never really paid attention to the political. I ain't never paid attention to that. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I couldn't explain why I felt that way. The Spirit of the Most High has always been in me, and I just didn't know it. And what I thought I knew about the Most High, what I thought I knew about Yahusha, who the world calls Jesus, that was something that I was taught. Because I was taught since a baby, since a child, into young adulthood, into my teens, and then my late teens, and then a young adult, and all, man. Growing up, I was taught who the Most High is. I was taught who the world calls Jesus is. I was taught that he came to the earth to die for our sins. And then he rose again on the third day. And if we believe that, and we confess that, then that saves us. Really, bro? That saves us, and then we go feast on the flesh and blood of his creation that he blessed and told to be fruitful and multiply. Yeah, okay, that's the true salvation. Alright, Gentile. Yeah, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to put all my trust and faith in you. And I don't want to hear nothing that the Messiah came here to do. I don't want to hear nothing that he did. And we can go all day long on the Christians, but the Spirit brings to my remembrance about my own people, the freaking so-called Hebrew Israelites, calling themselves prophets and mores and bishops and deacons. These brothers that want to be over other brothers. Bro, you want to just throw out the Messiah altogether. You don't want to have nothing to do with the new covenant. Because he came to bring the new covenant. So you ain't rejecting me. You're rejecting the Messiah. You say it out your own mouth. But you use Caesar Brazier. You use the Jesus Christ that in which was created to say he never existed. But you don't want to look at the Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah that came to abolish the wickedness of our forefathers. I be so tired going back and forth with these stiff-necked brews, man. They want to hold on to their forefathers' traditions so bad. They want to eat the flesh and blood of the proverbial so-called clean animals. They don't care what kind of torture and pain the chickens and the cows are going through. They don't care about the innocent lamb that's being tortured and mutilated and slaughtered in these slaughterhouses. They don't care about the pain and agony of these innocent creatures. They want to feast on their flesh and blood at all costs. They don't care. So therefore they throw out the Messiah. They don't understand though. Most of these brews that's on my page, most of them don't understand. They don't understand what kind of strong delusion they're under. They really don't understand. They don't really know that he did really exist. And he did really abolish these things. And he did really say, no, you're not going to kill no innocent lamb for Passover. And he became the innocent lamb that was slain upon the foundations of the earth. But they don't want to think about that. They don't want to look to that. They want to throw out the whole New Testament. There ain't no more lamb that needs to be slaughtered. There wasn't a lamb that needed to be slaughtered to begin with. But Moses couldn't get it out of them. Moses couldn't stop them from doing it. So therefore there was an old covenant. The old covenant, to allow it for a period of time till one could come to the earth to put an end to it for good. That was Yahushua HaMashiach. He came to do that. He came to abolish all of that. He took the responsibility away from man to reign over the Father's people and give them his words. Yahushua came here and he told us it's expedient that I go away. For if I go not away, I cannot send the Spirit unto you. I cannot send the Ruach. I cannot send the Comforter. I cannot send the Spirit of truth unto you. There's a reason he had to send the Spirit of truth, because no longer was it the responsibility of men upon the earth to write things and or to say things to people as the word of the Most High. Now, with the Spirit imparted to us by Yahushua HaMashiach, who the world calls Jesus, we're able to commune with the Most High ourselves. We're able to reconnect to him and be led and guided by him ourselves. Double portion for the Israelites that's been prophesied, that he will wake them up in the lands of their captivity, and they shall remember themselves. They'll come back to who they are. I will bring back to their remembrance. That's what happened to me, bro. So yeah, I'm elevated. I'm elevating. As I've came out of deep corruption, learned who I was, gave up pork and shellfish and catfish and all the so-called abominations to eat. We're not supposed to eat those things, but we can eat the so-called proverbial clean animals. I was there. I was at that point that a lot of brews are at. And some of the ones that believe in Yahushua, they're there, and they still are partaking of the flesh and blood of the Father's innocent creation. I was there, as I still continue to eat the so-called clean animals, chicken and fish with fins and scales, cow, steaks, lamb. In ignorance, with the lack of understanding that I'm eating all this negative energy, I'm eating death and decay. Who knows how long those animals been dead? We no longer have a Levitical priesthood. We no longer have a temple. Our forefathers were so wicked that the Most High allowed these Gentiles to do what they did to us. So atrocious that they want to cover it up. They don't want to talk about that. They want us to hush. But we ain't the chosen people. In the Americas, South America and North America, you got Peru and all these places where these ancient civilizations lived, right? The so-called Mayans and Aztecs and all these so-called people, but yet the Atlanteans, but they just disappeared. They just disappeared. No one knows whatever happened to them. You have the lost tribes of Israel. Nobody knows what happened to them. Where are these people at? But now everybody want to claim Israelite heritage. But there's only one group of people that fit all the signs and the markers that were placed upon this people by the Most High. It cannot be refuted. Is prophecy fulfilling? Prophecy is fulfilling. And here soon, by the leading of the Spirit, the Father's going to use me to break it down as a vessel. I'm a willing vessel. And I can feel it. I can feel it. I can see all these scriptures that's just ready to pour into me. And so that I can just bring it out. And so that's what I'm going to do. But first, I need to take some calls and whatnot. And I'll be back later. possibly, if the Father wills. Shalom.